And I was like, oh, I'm going back to school with 7 million now. And I was like, I took over everyone's For You page. I had a total of 1 billion views within like a month span. So people had seen my face. I owned the app for a minute. I was like, oh, I'm getting recognized. And it was, I'm going to like frat parties and people are taking pictures of me. And Bringin It Backwards. Hello.
Hi, Bailey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you doing this.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I slept through the first time. I have insomnia.
It's all good. Don't worry about it. I appreciate you being here today.
Yes, I woke up. I'm all good, ready.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm Adam, and this podcast is about you. And I want to talk about your music and everything you've got going on now, and obviously your really successful career in social media and everything else.
Yeah, I'm down. I got a lot of things things going on.
Rad. I can't wait to hear about it. Born and raised, are you from LA originally, or are you in LA?
No, I'm in LA now. I'm originally from Virginia. So the other side.
Interesting. Okay, tell me about that. What part of Virginia?
I always say like DC, but that's everyone who's like near DC kind of says that. I was in I don't know if I want to say the actual town. I was born in Fairfax County, Virginia, which is like 45 minutes from Washington, DC. It's pretty big. I just don't want to say like directly.
Oh, no, for sure. I don't need your address. It's all good.
Because my parents still live there, but they lived in the same house the whole time. I'm like, we did not move once. We had no like crazy incidents. It was very calm, very normal, like suburban home.
Interesting.
So pretty regular.
That's cool. And did you grow up in like a creative or artistic household at all?
No, actually not at all. My parents used to make fun of my eldest sister. I have two, but they would tell her that she was tone deaf. She couldn't carry a tune like to save her life. And it was so funny. But I was always obsessed with artistic stuff. My parents, one of them is very like business focused. He loves his business. And then my mom is not as much. So she kind of got it. But my dad kind of was, he was like, he's not really into the creative arts as a career.
Okay. Sure. Well, what about like singing and music? And was that something that was around in the house? You said your sister couldn't carry a tune, but obviously you can sing. So I was wondering if that was something that your parents kind of, or at least your mom was like, oh, well, at least Bailey could, you know what I mean? Like she knew that you could sing, or like, tell me about that a little bit.
They kind of like did and didn't. There definitely was a few instances that probably gave me away that I did like to sing. Like I auditioned for a couple talent shows, actually got rejected from my high school talent show. I tried to be in that and they said, nah. And they're like, no, they sent me a polite little note saying, sorry, like next year. I was like, okay, cool.
Really? In the talent show, they turned you down?
I was like, it's a talent show, but okay. And then I always loved theater music. And I had this app, which nobody will probably know what I'm talking about. It's called Smule, and it was karaoke. And you would like find a karaoke track that you wanted to do. And then I literally sat in the basement with my little headphones in, and I would record so many of these tracks, probably like 10 a day. It was my favorite thing while I was like in middle school. And then I don't know what happened. I think I got logged out when I got a new phone. But I stopped doing that and just did karaoke. But I always loved singing, and I was too scared to like tell my parents I could sing and that I liked it or like do anything with it. Like I was too anxious, like being chorus, and just like kind of didn't want to do that. But I did sing for one project. I actually wrote a parody of Hallelujah, and it was about the women's rights movement.
Oh wow, the Leonard Cohen song?
It was I honestly don't remember. I don't remember. It was not the original one for sure.
Got it.
But like it wasn't Paramore.
Okay, sure. Rad. Well, okay. So you had this app and you'd go in the basement, so nobody knew that you were actually doing this. You were just kind of doing it as your own thing.
Yeah, they probably heard me. Like the house wasn't that big. So they probably knew I was like singing my little heart out in the basement. But my middle sister actually loved to sing karaoke too, but she would belt all the way through the house. She did not care. Okay. She was ready.
What were the songs that you were singing down there? Do you remember some of the early ones that you would cover?
A lot of Disney.
Okay.
A lot of Disney. I loved singing Disney princess songs, like all of them. When Let It Go came out, that was it for me. I was so ready for that.
Okay. Wow. And so you said you didn't get into the talent show, but like, when does, like, obviously you do really well, or not, you do really, it's insane how well you do on social media. Like, did that kind of, like, how did that kind of start for you? Was it like, how did you get the confidence to, then you said you were kind of like shy with singing. Like, how did you get the confidence to just like start going on, on an app and really presenting your personality?
Yeah, first, thank you. It's a lot of work, but I'm very, very proud of it. And it was like, I don't really know how, like, anxiety wise, I could not sing in front of my parents, but for some reason, nothing was wrong in my head when I would post a TikTok. So it was quarantine, as most TikTokers started. I was really bored, had nothing to do, and I'd use TikTok just as fun, not really doing anything serious. And I started to make the videos that are like my niche. I made one and it did well, and I like gained some followers. And my dream was also to do social media, because I tried to grow on my Instagram and couldn't. And when I grew on TikTok, I was like, this is my opportunity. So I think I kind of was just so like excited by the success of it that kind of deleted all of my like worrying thoughts for me. Cause now I kind of post them, and sometimes I'm like, oh, like, I don't know if I want people to see this. It's also a much bigger audience. So
Right.
fair on me to be a little bit more concerned now about how they're looking at me.
Yeah. With that though, like, I mean, you were in high school when like the pandemic hit and everything, right? I think I saw an interview with you talk about that. So
Yeah, I was
obviously like
senior.
these apps and all this is kind of happening, and that must be probably a big, I'm old, so like this wasn't a thing when I was in high school, but like, going through high school and having Instagram and Facebook and these different apps, like that's probably a lot of what popularity, like the cloud and everything at school. Was that a big thing?
It like kind of was and kind of wasn't. It was still kind of new until high school. Like nobody really used anything. Like Snapchat came out, and that was really cool for all of us. I remember like the OG Snapchat when it was so new. It was like 2013.
Okay.
So we used that. Instagram came out when I was in like 6th grade. So it started to develop, and in high school, it wasn't really like overpowering or anything. I think it definitely it was there, and we all knew it was there, but it just started to get really popular towards the end.
Okay. And then TikTok just changed everything.
Yeah, because it was originally Musically, and we had Musically, and like I remember I did that my freshman year of high school, but then 3 years later it was TikTok, or maybe it was 2 years, but everybody stopped using Musically, and so they switched it to TikTok.
Yeah, that was wild. Like I have a son who was on Musically, and it was interesting because he was showing me this app, and like there wasn't a lot of bigger artists on it. I think Halsey might have had one, but there wasn't a whole lot of like big artists weren't utilizing it. Like obviously they do with TikTok, and then something just changed, and it was like they became the biggest app ever.
I know. I don't know I think they were just maybe trying to like modernize it. We were all like, oh, but we loved it Musically. It was very popular with like kids my age, but it definitely wasn't as mainstream as, the Instagram and the Facebook. It was kind of off to the side. And then it's crazy because I started on the app literally right when it switched, because it was downloaded on my phone. I never came off my phone. It just switched to TikTok one day, and I was
really? Just like updated?
Right. Yeah, just updated, and it was a new app, and I was like, okay, cool. So I just started posting like the trends, and it was very early TikTok when really there was no platform that was just videos. It was Instagram at the time was only photos, and then that was kind of like Snapchat. You could post videos, but nobody was probably watching them.
Right. It wasn't like, well, Vine had that thing, but that was kind of very short form videos. I think they're like 15 seconds, or even if that, like
it's like 5.
Yeah, it was really, really short form. And then when it changed, to TikTok, everything kind of changed from there. But like, so you're in senior year, that must have been such a bummer, like to have the pandemic hit when you're a senior in high school. Like, did that take away like prom and all the things that you're probably looking forward to as a kid, going through high school?
Yeah, it was sad at the time, but I'm like, I ended up getting something else, at least me, I got a career out of it. I'm like, so sorry. It was not good for,
Right.
many other people, but I was sad that I didn't get a prom. It was actually my friend at the time. We were shopping for prom dresses during the first 2-week gap when they said, hey, you guys can't go to school. And we were like, oh my God, a 2-week break. Like we kept having snow days because it's Virginia, it's cold. And we were like, cool. And then they never sent us back. But that day they told us we were shopping for prom dresses.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I was like, oh, great. And then my school tried to do a graduation. Some people did a makeup, which I wish they did. They didn't give us one like really at all. They had like a tiny platform in the school parking lot that you could walk across. And I literally looked at my parents and I was like, I'm not doing that. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, that ruined it. I was like, come on, a parking lot? Like, that's just sad. Like, I can walk. I'll just do a lap around the parking lot. We'll get the same effect, guys. Let's go home.
Wow.
It's like,
they didn't make you do like a Zoom one. They're like, okay, we're going to click on you. You're going to be the, like that would have just been, I don't know. I felt
like
so
a
bad.
slideshow or something.
Right. Like, at that point, did you know, what, before TikTok happened, like, did you have a thought of like a forever career that you wanted to pursue?
I didn't. I literally did not know what I wanted to do. I had a bunch of like options in my head. Turns out those are really difficult options, like accounting. I'm really terrible at math, so I don't know why that was like a goal of mine. I deleted that one pretty quick. And then I also wanted to be in political science so that I could be a lawyer because I was really smart. Like my freshman and sophomore year of high school, I was like really going for it. I was excited and it was a new school. And I went to like a law program at Stanford that I had to be recommended to. I always forget I did that. I did in fact do that. So I did want to be a lawyer at some point, but as I got older, I realized, hey, I hate reading. Nothing against reading. I just like not my attention span. I like painting. I like singing. I like playing the guitar, but reading can't do it for me. Like I can't get immersed in it. I've tried. So I could not be a lawyer. Couldn't do that. It's only reading. Like that's the
sure.
only thing
Yeah. It's a lot of reading and a lot of
talking.
memorization. Yeah. Knowing laws. Well, you said you went to a program at Stanford. So you went all the way from Virginia to Northern California?
I did. It was because I had the sweetest little criminal justice. The reason I wanted to be a lawyer is because I was in criminal justice. Loved it. My parents thought I should be a cop. I said no to that. But I went to Stanford because he recommended me.
Like this is really during high school, or this is after you graduated high school?
This was in high school. This was like, I think after, in between sophomore and junior year.
Oh, so it was like in the summertime?
Yeah, it was just like a little week program, I think. And we did like a mock trial, which was kind of fun. But I was like a UN kid. I was really like the model trial club.
Wow. Okay. So that must have been cool. And then so you go back, obviously back to Virginia. So that was just like a little snippet of something that you had a chance to kind of, attempt or try to do. And then so you're back home, and then TikTok happens, and then that just changes your life. And at what point, like, were you still in high school when your followers start really to going up and building, or had you graduated at that point?
I had not graduated yet. I was like literally 3 months away from graduating, and then it started to blow up, but it kind of worked out in my favor because I didn't like that school very much. People were not very nice to me. So
I did see something. You got bullied quite a bit, right?
I did. It was just high school. I mean, high school's mean. Looking back at it now, I'm like, you guys are really, but
yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's awful.
It's okay. Thank you. It was senior year and I was just so bored. And it was right after we got out is when I started to get on TikTok and started to blow up. Like right when they let us out, the first quarantine where you couldn't even like look at your neighbor the wrong way without a mask on.
Sure.
You had to be inside. There was no food, no nothing. We would drive around like in circles aimlessly because we had nothing to do. Like I was going on runs. That's how bored I was. I wasn't a runner. I didn't like it. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. But I'm curious now, and maybe this would be my personality. If I was getting bullied in school and then I just achieved all the success on TikTok, I'm willing to bet some of those people tried to reach out to you and be like, hey, like, post the tag me in a post. Like, were you getting any of that?
I haven't gotten like too much of people being like, can you post me? But there's some people who have like started businesses and have reached out to me, even though we like weren't friends in high school, or if they were like in a side group and weren't the nicest to me. And now they're like, can you wear one of my shirts and tag us in a video? And I never know what to say because I feel really bad being like, no, I'm sorry. Like,
just say, remember when you were mean to me?
I know.
You just like quote some mean thing that they said to you and be like, hey, remember when you said this to me? Yeah, that's why, I won't. Or like,
yeah,
that's why you need to be nice to people.
a lot of people
never
were like
know.
really mean to me. I just blocked those. So those people don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, they're probably looking from, a different account that I don't know.
Oh, know they are.
Oh yeah. They're looking, but
they're haters.
I'm not really paying attention to them. So I bet some people definitely look at it now and they're like, how did that happen? Because they see me as I was in high school, and it's crazy how much I've changed within the span of like 3 years, because I graduated at 17, but not that long.
Yeah. They're just watching your content from some like ghost account at their Applebee's job, just so upset.
Like in a dorm, and they're like, how did she do that?
Look at what she's doing, and I'm here working at this chain restaurant and I have nothing going for me. So I think I saw something. I was curious because I saw that you were on a San Diego television station. I'm from San Diego originally. Did you go to San Diego State?
I did.
Is that where you went straight from Virginia? Did you move to San Diego?
Yeah, after the bullying, I wanted to leave. To be quite honest, I was like, I'm gonna dip. So I have enough, you guys. Didn't want to overlap with literally a single person from the high school. Probably, I still have a couple friends that were very nice to me the whole time, but I wanted to leave. So I was looking at California schools, and there was just, I looked at like UCSD, and I was not smart enough for UCLA. No. Or Stanford, also not smart enough.
I lived in San Diego. I wasn't smart enough for any of those schools, so it's all good.
Yeah, I was like, San Diego State, I like wasn't even, I just found it, and I was like, this looks so beautiful. Like, this is like my California dream, like what I'd always wanted. I loved California. So I applied, and I was like, it was easy. I didn't have to write an essay or anything, but they had a pretty low acceptance rate. And my GPA was probably not where it should have been, because I was still a pretty smart school. My GPA was all right going out of high school. It wasn't like you're a genius, but it wasn't, 1. It was
right.
It was good. But I remember I literally was in the bathroom one day, and I opened my phone and they accepted me, and I was like, oh, because I didn't think I would experience that, because I was like, I don't even really want to go to college. I just want to like do nothing.
TikTok videos.
Yeah, I was like, I just this is working. Do my TikToks. But that was a good day. And then I went all the way to San Diego for 1 year. And then I went for my freshman, and then part of the sophomore, probably like 2 months in, I was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. Did you move, like, how did your parents feel about you moving from Virginia all the way to San Diego? Were they cool about it?
They really were. They were happy with whatever I wanted to do. I think they knew I was having not the best time in Virginia. I was like, they kind of know now. I have like one high school friend that I like still hang out with, and they're like, that's not a very good ratio. So she's probably not friends with them for a good reason. But
did they know that you're getting bullied like that?
They did. My dad actually was trying to get involved. The reason I don't like the school is because they wouldn't do anything about it when it got bad. I was like, I could fend for myself against, people just saying snarky things. But when it's like public harassment and like vandalism of the school, I was like, okay, why aren't you guys doing anything? And they were just kind of ignoring me.
Awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. That's the worst. And especially now with like social media and everything else, it just can people can be mean, and then it'll just spread so fast. That
was the bad part about social media blowing up while I was in school, is because people they could say whatever they wanted, and like do whatever they wanted. And they were like, haha. Like,
right. Or they could
I
like,
would never say this to you, but I'm gonna say it on a comment because
right. Or I'll screenshot something that somebody said, and I'm going to post it on like up on my thing or whatever. Like that's brutal.
It was. I mean, I was very young and I definitely made some stupid social media posts, but I wish my generation wasn't so immersed in it. Cause I'm like, I don't feel like a person. I'm like, people meet me and they go, "Are you that girl from TikTok?" And I was like, I also am a girl.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I'm also a human being.
no
here.
name.
And yeah. Right. Are you the TikTok girl? So you go to San Diego State. That's awesome. Do you live in the dorms in San Diego State, or is it like still COVID quarantine?
I was in the dorms freshman year, and then I was in an apartment the sophomore year, and then I dropped out.
Yeah. Dipped. That's cool. Like, what did you think of San Diego? That must have been there were some good parties at San Diego State. I will say that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it was. I didn't realize it was a party school, and then I went.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Whoa, you guys like turn up!" I don't even use that word, but I was like, "Poof, okay." It was really fun while I was there for the year. I loved San Diego. I thought it was the most beautiful thing ever. My dad was very gracious and had taken me to visit, which is what sold me. It's because I visited and it was gorgeous, and like San Diego is so beautiful. And he has this obsession with Coronado Island, which is like very beautiful,
heck yeah,
very rich island. And I love it too, but we would stay at his favorite hotel there and he'd love it so much. And like he liked it and I liked it. And he'd watch all like the boats go past. And so it was always like good memories. And I was like, I'll go here. Like, this sounds like a good idea. But San Diego was really fun. I miss it occasionally.
So when you decided to drop out of school, I mean, to have the people, you go to San Diego State, you're in the dorms, and it's probably the same thing now. It's like you leave one high school where everyone's being mean, and now you're at San Diego State, and it's like you have this, celebrity presence like online where people like, oh my gosh, like you're from TikTok, or I'm sure you had to be getting a lot of that.
Yeah, my freshman year, I only had 2 million, which it sounds crazy to say only had 2 million, but 2 million on TikTok is like a lot, but not a lot to where people like recognize you repeatedly in public because it's such a big account. It's like some people will be like, oh my gosh, don't you make TikToks? But not everyone you won't create a crowd. And then when I blew up, it was in between freshman and sophomore year. And I was like, oh, I'm going back to school with 7 million now. And I was like, I took over everyone's For You page. I had a total of 1 billion views within like a month span. So people had seen my face. I owned the app for a minute. I was like, oh, I'm getting recognized. And it was, I'm going to like frat parties and people are taking pictures of me. And I'm like, this is really silly, guys. I was like, I don't know how to be a student right now, but I just literally felt like all eyes were on me.
I can't imagine how that must feel. Yeah. And then you're like, are these people just trying to take a picture with me because they see me on the app? Are they being genuine? Like I would have bet a lot of that has to run through your mind.
It does. And I'm like, it was hard to tell who thought I was so cool because I had a following or who actually thought I was cool because I was me. Because I definitely did have one friend who was like so obsessed with the fact that I did social media. And so it just kind of was like, I don't want anyone to be like a sidekick. I was like, I'm looking for like a friends,
friends, right.
I'm looking for real people who aren't going to be like, can we make a TikTok right now? I'm like,
right. Yeah, for sure. Was there a moment you said that like between freshman and sophomore year that's when your TikTok really blew up? Like, was there a particular video or something, or it's just like all your videos just really started to land at that point?
It was one, that went to a crazy proportion, and then every single video for like a week or more than a few weeks had like 15 million views or more. So I don't know what happened. TikTok just said, okay,
we like this person.
We like you. Here you go.
Oh, wow. And then so you end up, dropping out of San Diego State. And do you move to Los Angeles at this point? Or are you still staying were you still staying in San Diego?
I actually did move, and I moved within the course of a week. I visited one of my friends, Brooklyn, and she lived in an apartment building, and she was like, it was so easy to get an apartment. And I was like, That sounds fun. And so I went, and then I realized I wanted to do social media full time. When I went back, seeing all these people, I was like, they're living like adults and just doing what they like day to day, making content, like doing a bunch of fun things. So I applied for an apartment in LA, and I was like, you know what, they're not going to accept me. I was like, I think I was 19 or eight. Was I 18? No, I was 19. And I was like, I mean, it'll probably be fine. Like, if it doesn't accept me, I'll just stay here. And they did. And I was like, oh, and the move-in date was like on that Friday. I don't know why I picked one that was so soon, but lo and behold, I was moving in on that Friday, and I drove all the way there with like literally nothing. I had nothing. I had no furniture.
Wow. That's crazy. So then you're up in LA, and it's just, you're down, left San Diego. And then I'm sure, obviously there's so much more happening in LA, especially with what you do. At what point, because I'm curious about your music. I did see I've watched a lot of the covers that you've done. The most recent one, the Neighborhood one is rad. I think it's funny how that song kind of, I mean, really has made this comeback. Like,
I know
what I mean? Like, it's like, I think that came out like 2013 or something like that.
It was old. I remember like the very beginning of that song, and now everybody's coming back. It's crazy to think that like people are younger than me. I was like, I'm getting a little bit older than I think I am. I was like, I'm not
so young.
I know, but I'm not with the people. They started a slang word on TikTok recently, and I was like, what are you guys talking about? I was like, this is my job, and I don't even know what this slang is.
Oh, wow, that's funny.
I can't do it.
Yeah, you have to keep up, right? I mean, because it moves so fast.
It does.
So fast.
Really quick. Because if you post a trend that's like a week and a half too late, no one cares.
Yeah,
no one cares. It's done. But when I post them, like the other day on Halloween, I got over 10 million views, literally for like pretending to talk to someone, and it would take photos of me to see if I'm photogenic. And I was like, this is what's hitting on this app right now.
That's fun. Like, how do you come up? Do you just come up with a video? Like, you must have to do that constantly, right? Like coming up with a video every single day.
I come up with them kind of every day. Recently, it's been like every other day, or I'll brainstorm a lot at once and then stop thinking about it. But I used to be every single day I was creating and filming content, but I'm very much more lenient with myself now, because I'm like, I do it as a full-time job.
Sure.
And you got to give yourself a minute to, especially when it's such a weird thing to be doing every day, got to give yourself a minute to chill out.
Yeah, no, definitely. So like you were talking about earlier, how you would go down into your basement to do these, cover song or karaoke songs. Like, what gave you the confidence to then say, you people know you for this type of video, than to be like, okay, I'm going to put a song of me singing something, right? I mean, that's just such a different, like, it's not on brand as much, right, for you? At least
no,
at that point.
It was not. And I never knew how to sing online. I just like didn't want to, because I knew I could like carry a tune pretty well, but I wasn't like the best ever. So I was too scared to put it out there. And then the beginning of this year, I for some reason, my brain was like, you know what? I do want to sing. I just wanted to like branch out somehow. Felt like I could have been doing more. And so I did one cover, and that cover actually blew up. They're not anymore.
Cover? Which one was that? I'm just curious. It was
Traitor.
Oh, okay.
That one got like quite a bit on YouTube and had quite a bit on TikTok. But the reason it got so much on TikTok is because they were hating on me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like all of them, I get a lot of hate. Not much recently. I've gotten better, and now they don't get any views because they don't have anything to hate on. They're like,
is it discouraging?
It was definitely. It was super hard to get over it at first, because I don't know. I always try to remind myself that they're like random people on the internet, and they're probably 12 and don't know a single thing about singing. But whenever they would get to me, I remember that the first cover I posted, my parents had barely heard me sing. They all texted me and they were like, we didn't know you could sing. Like, that was really good. So I just remember that. And if my parents approve of it, I'm okay. And they're like real people. Like, they're not just kids on the internet hating just because they feel like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting that validation is huge. I mean, yeah, exactly. Anyone, hurt people, right? So they'll just go on there and be like, you know, you suck or whatever. And it's like, well, yeah, because you have nothing else going on. But like with that, you'd go to because you're at least the neighborhood and a lot of the covers that you're putting on, like the full covers you're putting on YouTube, you're like in a legit studio and singing. What was that experience like? And when did you first, you know, get into a recording studio? What was that like?
It was a lot for me. The first one was like not as crazy as the ones I go to now. I started off with a little bit, not like a small studio, but it was like a very comfortable space. There was like a couch and it was just a little booth with a mic, and I could just sit there. And then I sat at first because I also was too shy to stand and like commit to it. But it was weird to go in somewhere and just start singing into the mic, especially I was like too scared. I had been doing vocal lessons and I couldn't even sing at vocal lessons sometimes. Like it was so hard for me to produce noise because I was really fighting with my own brain.
Oh yeah.
My own head's like, don't do it. And then I'm like, no, but I want to, like, I'm trying.
Yeah.
But it was.
Oh, so you started taking vocal lessons when you at around the same point when you were doing the covers?
Yeah. I started taking them, and I also started playing the guitar.
Oh, really? That's cool. Are you still playing guitar?
Yeah, I'm just not very good. So I always bring it up briefly. I'm like, no, I play the guitar. Not very well.
No, who cares? Like, that's cool that you can play it though, right? I mean, you got to start somewhere. So then you go in the studio, and then now obviously the videos you shoot in these studios are beautiful, and the covers you do. Are you going in, like, it looks like every week you're posting something for at least a cover?
Yeah, so we group them kind of. We will do 2 in a day and schedule them in advance so that the video is already there.
Smart.
But yeah, I'm in the studio a lot. I have literally a studio session tomorrow, I think, to make original music, but it started like slowly escalating past the covers, and I was kind of like, I'm bored. What do I do next?
Wow, so you're writing songs now. That's what I wondered about that. So tell me about that. Like, you haven't put any out, have you? Or am I just missing something?
No, I have not.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to go about it correctly currently on the internet, because the internet is brutal. But I do have one song that's going to be the first single, and it's like not set to release, but it's going to release in January 2023. Wow. So we have the one, and then I have I'm working on an EP currently. So we're gonna release things like off the EP, and then it's gonna be amazing. I started writing some. That was very scary too, making your own songs.
Yeah, I bet. And then, like, can you give me like an idea, like what sound, like what is the sound of it, or is it all kind of like different? Like, is there kind of a one genre you're shooting for?
I'm really trying to go for rock, not like AC/DC, like Pierce the Veil rock, kind of more leaning towards like Paramore and some softer stuff. Like I really liked Black Bear's 2022 album of In Loving Memory, and it was really hard, and he like switched his genre to punk rock all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's like this pop punk sound, right?
It was like, whoa. But I'm trying to go a little bit, they're pop punk. People call it pop punk. I feel like that's technically what I would be like categorized
as. That's my favorite type of music. That's cool. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, because that doesn't sound like I didn't know if you're gonna have more of the, because a lot of the covers you do are a lot slower, where you're like really showing your vocal range, but to have like more of a rock sound, that's interesting, just based off the videos that I've seen of you.
I know. I kind of realized as I kept doing the covers, I was like, why am I not doing the genre that I actually listen to? But it's because I was too scared to sing a rock song. I was doing things I was comfortable with and things I knew I could sing and not be like, oh, because I was scared of messing up. That was my thing. So I didn't do any rock songs. So I'm like the biggest Paramore fan ever. And I can sing like the whole 2007 album start to finish. And I didn't do any of them. I didn't do any of my favorite artist songs because I'm too scared. But I love rock. I've always loved rock. That's where I've been going. And I posted a little clip of my song on TikTok, and they seemed supportive of me doing, something more pop punk and not
I have to go
releasing
listen
just
to
pop.
that. I didn't see that.
It was only on my spam account, and it's like 30 videos.
Okay.
It was very small.
Okay, that's rad though. I can't wait to hear it because that's my I mean, I grew up with all that when those bands were coming out. And Pierce the Veil's from San Diego. Those guys used to be in a band called Early Times before it became Pierce the Veil. But that's awesome. That I'm really intrigued to hear what your songs are sounding like. So it's coming out in January. Yes,
January. I will have one song officially out. It's getting a music video too. I'm not going to make them for every song, but there's definitely going to be a music video for that one. This is the first one, but I'm excited.
That's really exciting. I can't wait to hear it. And thank you so much, Bailey, for doing this. I really appreciate your time today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. Very fun.
I have one more question before I let you go. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists or content creators, actually.
You have to keep pushing through, which just sounds so like cliche. And I feel like everybody's like, oh, but like my videos aren't doing well. Like, why does it matter if I post another one? Because eventually, if you keep posting that content, someone's gonna see it. Or if you want to branch out into an artistic field of some other kind, if you started on social media, do it. Do whatever you want. And if there are people in the comments telling you that you can't do it, what do they know? I'm like, you can do whatever you want to do. So if you wake up one day and think, hey, I really like painting, start painting. Start painting on the internet. And if you're having a hard day and you don't understand why you're not getting as many followers or as much views as you want, sometimes it's good to brainstorm and take a second away to kind of get where your mind is at, because you don't want to feel totally consumed by it. So definitely take breaks, but keep persisting through even on those days where it feels like you're not getting any traction from what you're doing, because eventually it will help, coming from experience.
Bringin It Backwards.